What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here with another update for you guys on Madden 20. As you know, I'm always keeping you up to date with the title updates, roster updates, and everything in between. Yesterday, we just got a huge roster update that changed the game in a lot of ways. If you missed that video, I'll link it for you below in the description and in the comments to check that out. But for today, we're going to be going over this big roster update that just took place. A lot of guys moving up, a lot of guys moving down. It seems like the past few weeks, they've really been boosting and lowering a big number of people. So right before we get into that, if you do want to stay up to date on all the Madden news and tips all year long, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that bell icon so that you never miss any of the uploads. Drop a like on the video, it does help the channel out. So let's go over the blog of the roster updates, where EA is going to touch on a few specific players and kind of give their thoughts onto, why they either raised them or lowered them, and then I'll go over the total number of guys that went up and down. So in the EA blog here today, for Week 7 risers, the first person that they're highlighting is Carson Wentz, which I know Eagles fans will like, because I get this in my comment section all the time. People are like, Carson Wentz is overall not high enough, he doesn't have any abilities, and I'm seeing that complaint probably 10 times a day in my comment section, and I agree. I think with the way he's been playing, they need to give him some abilities. Even if they don't want to make him an X factor, I think it's time for him to be considered a superstar player. But that's just my opinion. But this is what they have on him for here. They said, despite a Week 6 loss against the Vikings, Carson Wentz had his best game in weeks. He threw for over 300 yards for the first time since Week 1 and tossed 2 touchdown passes and 1 interception. Wentz also recorded his highest completion percentage, 65%, since Week 1. All this against one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. The Madden ratings adjusters were watching, and they think Wentz deserves a bump heading into Week 7. So they put him up 1 overall. He is now an 84. Last week, of course, he was at 83, and he started the year at 82. So he's going up 2 overall points so far this year, and I think he's going to continue moving up because he has been playing, he's had some rough games here or there, but I think overall he's playing pretty good, and he's showing what he can do. Next big one, Nick Bosa. I've definitely seen people asking about him as well. He's been killing it. I think he's got to be leading the Defensive Rookie of the Year voting at this point. It says here, following his NFC Defensive Player of the Week nod in Week 5, Nick Bosa's strong play continued as he wreaked havoc against the Rams' offensive line in Week 6. Los Angeles had no answer for the dominant day from Bosa and the rest of the 49ers defense. The rookie, who is now healthy after a couple of injury red flags early in the season, only has room to improve, and he will continue to go up for sure. He is just a monster. The Niners are playing great football right now. And speaking of the Rams, the Rams' offensive line's been looking kind of weak so far this year. And it kind of seems like the last few weeks, people that have been going up against the Rams, their teams have been getting a good ratings boost. We saw it happen with Russell Wilson and some other people. We're seeing it with Nick Bosa now. Seems like the Rams are the team you want to play currently if you want to get your ratings boosted. So you can see Nick Bosa went up 1 overall to an 83, which means last week he was an 82, and he started the year at a 78. So from a 78 all the way up to 83, 5 overall points for a rookie in the first half of the season. That is pretty good. I would expect by the end of the year for him to be like an 86, 87 maybe. Just depends on how good he plays, because they're kind of conservative with how much they move people up, especially young players. But if he keeps playing like this, you can already consider him one of the best pass rushers in the league the way he's playing, and he's only going to get better, barring any injuries or anything like that. The next one, this is a big one. Stephon Gilmore for the Patriots. He went up pretty big this week. So it says, coming into Week 6 with a 94 overall, Stephon Gilmore had a strong outing against the Giants last Thursday night. Gilmore snatched 1 of 3 picks thrown by rookie Daniel Jones and racked up 5 passes defended and 3 total tackles on the night. Gilmore is one of the most dominant cornerbacks in the NFL. He's the second highest rated cornerback in Madden 20, and because of his consistent top shelf performance, he's due for his first ratings increase of the season. Now, I believe, I'll pop it up on the screen, I'm going to check. I believe Gilmore is now the highest rated corner on Madden, and granted, he's been playing very good. I still don't think he's a better player than Ramsey as a whole, but because Ramsey hasn't been playing games, kind of prevents him from moving up. I think they might have moved him down, which we'll check on in a little bit. But, Gilmore is definitely not far behind Ramsey, but I think now Gilmore is officially the highest rated corner in the game. So going up 3 overall points in a week is pretty big. But he started the year to 94, so that means he hasn't actually moved up at all this year. So I guess that's why they gave him a little bit bigger of a bump, because they haven't incrementally increased him. But he's been playing solid for 6 games now. So that's why they gave him a bigger bump, I believe. Now, time to talk about the fallers. So Jared Goff is the headliner here. Not having his best year, definitely regressing a little bit. You know, some of that's due to bad offensive line play, but some of his decision making just hasn't been great so far this year. He's dropping 2 overall points down to a 78. And this is a guy who just last year was for a good part of the year was, he was an MVP candidate. He was never quite in the running with like Mahomes and Breeze, but he wasn't far behind. He was still somewhat in the conversation. And now he's just falling. It says the Rams losing skid continued in week 6 with a loss against the 49ers, and Jared Goff posted a career worst 78 passing yards. He failed to throw a TD pass for the first time this season and managed to complete just 13 of his 24 pass attempts and also fumbled twice. As a result of the poor performance, Goff is set for his 3rd ratings decline of the season ahead of the Rams' Week 7 matchup against the Falcons, which could be a bounce-back spot, and it probably will be. So this is the 3rd time Goff's gone down this year. Like I said, he's been struggling, but if there's ever a team to get right against, it's definitely the Falcons. If I had Jared Goff in fantasy, I'd be starting him this week. I'd be starting all my Rams wide receivers because the Falcons defense is just flat out one of the absolute worst in the league right now. So if Goff puts on a good performance, you could see him bounce back up in the ratings next week. But you see, he's down to a 78. He started the year at an 83. So he's falling 5 overall points. That's pretty massive. But like I said, he's been having a rough year. Daniel Jones. I know Giants fans are not going to be happy about this because it took a while for him to get a little bit of a bump, and now they're bumping him back down. So it says, Giants rookie QB Daniel Jones started out hot with a big NFL debut in Week 3 against the Buccaneers, but since that game, he's cooled off considerably as he navigates rookie growing pains. Jones is coming off a Week 6 game where he threw 3 interceptions against perhaps the best defense in the league in New England, and Jones has a 3-6 touchdown to interception ratio in his last 3 games. He also failed to complete half of his pass attempts last week with a season-low 48.4% completion rate. Yep, that's enough for a slip in the Madden ratings ahead of Week 7. So, I mean, I know for Giants fans this is rough because they waited for him to get bumped up a little bit, and now he bumps back down. But, truth is, past couple weeks, he has not been playing that good, and if you're just going off of what you're seeing on the field, obviously he's a rookie. We can see that there's definitely potential there, but he's struggling a little bit right now. So they bumped him back down to a 68. He started the year at a 68, so he wound up going up to a 69, and then he kind of stayed at a 69 for a little bit. Now he's down to a 68. So right back where we started with Daniel Jones, unfortunately. But if he can put together a couple good games, he will be able to bounce back. So now let's talk about just the players as a whole. So talking about the guys that went up. So the biggest names here, there's a few guys that went up quite a bit. So obviously we already touched on Stephon Gilmore going up +3 to a 97 overall. Russell Wilson goes up again +1. So he's climbing up those QB ranks in Madden right now, and he should be because he's playing so good. He's definitely he's probably the leading MVP candidate at this point. It's a quarterback award. Christian McCaffrey obviously playing good, but it's almost certain that a QB in this stage of the NFL, it's impossible almost for a QB not to win the award. So he's definitely leading the way. Stephon Diggs, monster game. He goes back up +1. So he's kind of like getting good momentum going. Jamal Adams goes up +2. I'm happy to see that. He's climbing up the safety ranks in Madden. He's killing it in real life. One of my favorite players in the league, honestly. George Kittle goes up 1 to a 92. Devin McCourty on that Patriots defense, he's also going up +1. Aaron Rodgers +1, back up to a 90. So we saw Aaron Rodgers go down 2 a few weeks ago. People were mad, went back down to 88. Past 2 weeks, he's going up +1. So he's moving back in the right direction, getting back up there in the quarterback ranks. Matt Ryan went up +1. Despite the fact that the Falcons are playing bad, Matt Ryan has actually, he's been playing pretty solid, and he goes up +1. Jari Alexander, he just got his X Factor with the title update. He also goes up +1 overall. Now one of the better cornerbacks in the game. Austin Hooper, Marlon Humphrey, been balling out. He goes up again. I believe he went up last week as well. Everson Griffin, Hunter Henry came back, had a big week. He's up +1. Chris Godwin, been killing it. I think he's leading the league in yards right now. He's up +1. Zadarius Smith, Dante Hightower, Justin Simmons, all of these guys go up +1 as well. Carson Wentz, we talked about, and Joey Bosa went up +1. Preston Smith goes up +3 to 84 overall. He's been balling out this year, so he gets a big jump. And now we got some other big jumpers here. Kyle Van Noy, +4 to 82 overall. Fred Warner, this is a guy to keep an eye on. This guy has made a big jump, and he has been playing really, really good. He goes up +4 to a 77 overall. This guy, I think, is going to keep shooting up. He's looking pretty darn good. And Marcus Golden goes up +3 to a 75 overall. So outside of guys like Stephon Gilmore, you notice you see a bigger jump with the lower overall rated guys because they have so much more room to jump up. And it was clear guys like Van Noy, Fred Warner, Marcus Golden, they were just too underrated, so they gave those guys a bigger bump. Now let's talk about guys that are going down. So Jalen Ramsey goes down 1. I never agree with this. I'm fine with you just leaving them where they are if they're not playing. I just don't understand knocking someone down who isn't currently playing. And it was clear why he wasn't playing, because they're trying to work out a trade. He didn't want to be there. I don't get it. So he goes down 1. Gilmore goes up 3. So Gilmore is very clearly the best corner in the game now. Adam Thielen takes another dip, -1. Zach Ertz is having a little bit of a down year. He goes down 1 to a 91 overall. Phillip Rivers down 1. Don't really feel like it's his fault. He might have the worst offensive line currently in the league right now with the injuries that they have, so I don't really think it's his fault how he played last week. It's pretty much impossible to play behind the line that he has right now. Malcolm Jenkins goes down 3. That's a really big drop. He might not be having the best season. Obviously, he's getting older, but I think 3, that's a really considerable drop. I wish they would have touched on him in the blog, kind of given their reasoning why, because that's a pretty big, decline for a guy that's still a pretty good player. Melvin Gordon, obviously he just got back, but not looking so hot yet. He goes down 1. Kyle Fuller goes down 1. Jordan Reed goes down 1. Trey Burton, Robbie Gould, John Johnson all go down 1. Deshaun Jackson, again, he hasn't been playing. He's been hurt. He goes down 1. I don't understand it. He hasn't been playing. So being injured, I don't think is a reason to get dropped in the ratings, but that's something they do. Kyle Rudolph goes down 2, and the big one, this is wild. Marcus Mariota goes down 6 points to a 73 overall. That is a huge, and don't get me wrong, he's been playing pretty bad, but that's a huge drop. That's a huge drop. But the fact that they stretched the ratings this year, I think you're going to see sometimes some more aggressive drops when a player's playing even worse than they had projected, but that's really crazy. And obviously he got benched for Ryan Tannehill, so maybe that kind of factored into this. If you get benched from your starting position, maybe that warrants some bigger ratings drop. But yeah, that's the biggest one of the week. That one kind of surprised me. Usually don't see a drop or increase of 6. That's pretty wild. But that's the update for the roster this week. Let me know what you think about it. Do you agree with some of these? Disagree? Do you feel like they missed some players? I know you guys always feel like there's certain players that they're just overlooking. Let me know below. And as always, I will see you guys next time.